to the Q code. Your curiosity quest starts here.
Welcome back, all you crazy Q coders. Why do I sound so weird today?
Do you? This is literally how you sound every single time. Except for the fact that, like,
I feel like I'm muffled or something.
No, it's just whenever you talk first, you do this little twang. Like, welcome back, all you crazy Q coders.
Well, he loves the.
I don't know about that.
He loves the word WUSSUP. What's up? Instead of just what's up. What's up, Q coders?
So should I say, what is up, Q coders? Is that the most proper way that I could possibly say it?
Yes.
Do my levels look okay on there?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'm getting a cold. I don't know. But we got another good show for you guys today. So I think what we've decided to start doing is we're going to just quickly let you know what we will be talking about on today's episode. We'll backtrack into a little get to know ya, and then we will get into those questions. So if you're just super curious about what we're going to talk about, we are going to cover the science behind sleep. You might think that sounds awfully boring and a good way for me to go to sleep. But I will tell you that sleep is very important.
I could use some sleep right now.
You need to learn about it. Travis and Alan, you guys will love this.
Well, I remember at one point I read some type of article about like taking naps and how beneficial to your health it is to actually take naps.
Yeah,
but
I don't know what naps are.
Yeah, but the thing is, in the adult world, they don't exist. So
well, you got to make them exist.
Like, they should implement nap time at work.
They should. Well, yeah, I was going to say, when you were but you didn't go to Mexico, you just went to a Spanish-speaking mission in New Jersey. But did they have siestas?
No, there's no siestas in New Jersey.
Because I think they should implement siestas. But anyway, then Alan is going to cover what are the most fascinating exoplanets, and or just more or less talk about exoplanets in general, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I kind of changed it a little bit.
Exoplanets are very exciting. Exciting. Is that how you say it?
You made up a word. You can't say you can't make up a word and then ask me if that's how you say it.
Is that the correct etymology?
Is that did I pronounce it right?
Exociting
Pronunciation
is what I would say. Exoplanets are exociting. All right. Then Trav is going to do a little game that I'm looking forward to. But it's called What's That Sound? Nintendo Edition.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to get back into my childhood roots and remember when I actually had a Nintendo. And see
well,
if
that answers
identify.
one question for me, because as I was doing this, I was thinking to myself, I don't even know if these guys had a Nintendo.
We're half Japanese. Of course we had a Nintendo.
I don't know.
Okay, the truth is, Trav, we did not have a Nintendo. We had a Nintendo.
Oh, my God.
No one had a Nintendo. Everyone had Nintendo.
What are the other things that you would...
He just asked you how to say a word he made up, and now he's correcting you on how to say Nintendo.
Yeah.
I used to always tell you, like, it's not teriyaki.
Oh, yeah. It's teriyaki.
Teriyaki.
Karaoke.
And it's not...
Karaoke.
It's not origami.
Origami.
It's origami. And it's
Karate.
not karate. It's karate.
I will say it however I freaking want.
But what's that one?
And it's not Godzilla. It's Gogeta. Gogeta.
And what was that one? What's that brand, that company that has like the 3 diamonds that makes cars and TVs and stuff?
Mitsubishi?
Yeah.
Or Samsung?
Mitsubishi. You said it right. Good job.
Oh, great.
I don't know. I don't know anyone that says that one.
I know they don't.
Mitsubishi.
Because they actually say it right. But Mitsu is 3, Bishi is diamond.
Oh, 3 diamond.
Yeah. All right.
Well, if you don't learn anything else today, you learn that.
You know how to say Nintendo correctly. All right. So just to get into this, and as Trav said last week, for the time being, we were just kind of going to maybe go through like a what if situation or a would you rather situation, just to kind of get us to trying to get to know us better, right? So for this week, I have come up with a question for you two. Tell me who wants to answer first.
Can we hear the question first? I'll answer first.
All right. Would you rather know the exact way you'll die or the exact time you'll die?
I'd probably want to know the exact time. I think knowing exactly how I'm going to die would freak me out. Both of them would freak me out, but
because in one case you have like a clock that's counting down in essence.
Yeah. I think I'd rather have the time because then I'd at least know that like there's a movie, it's called like oh man, I can't remember what it's called. Well, it doesn't matter now. But it's basically this guy is given a certain amount of time to live. And
The Ring.
No. It's more of like an action comedy.
Oh.
He's a cop, and so he like doesn't care anymore. He's not careful about his life, so he just goes off and he's just jumping out windows and everything. But
Because he knows he's not going to die.
He knows he's going to die. And
I was going to say because he knows he's not going to die
until that time.
Well, no,
so he could do anything.
Well, no, it's really
until that time.
A doctor gave him like you have this much time left to live because of this illness, and so he's like, I'm gonna die anyway, so might as well be jumping out a window or doing this, and it just ends up that he never ever dies from any of these things, and then at the end you basically find out that it was a misdiagnosis and he got somebody else's diagnosis, and so he was just being reckless for no reason. So it was a pretty good movie. I don't remember what it was.
You have to find it. You have to find it and let us know because I kind of want to watch that now.
Yep.
So you'd rather go with
I'd go with the time.
All right. How about you, Al?
I would rather know what time I'm going to die too, because I think if I knew how I'm going to die, but not when I'm going to die, it would be the most anxiety-ridden. Like I would be looking at, like, say I was going to die by a meteor hitting me randomly. I would just be like always on the lookout. What is that?
Yeah, when is
that a shooting star? Oh my god! Well, because I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know how it's going to happen. So I would just be like constantly trying to be in the. I would just sit in the middle of a padded room and be like, nothing can touch me here.
I mean, I think you would be more prone to get hit by a meteor because if you had unlimited money, you would just go buy a spaceship.
Yep.
So you would have zero barriers to meteor entry.
But maybe I wouldn't if I knew that's how I was going to
die. Okay, so both of you guys would go with time. So what if you guys said, okay, I choose time, and then the higher power comes down and just says 8:57.
Like,
was that a part of it? You can't just change stuff. You said the exact time.
AM, PM,
exact
what
moment
day?
or whatever.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Don't change it. This isn't like this could get us on a path that would take us down for like an hour. We'd be talking about this.
I know. I was just messing with you guys, but I don't know. I batted this around in my head since we started
a bat to the head. That'd be a. If it was a strong swing, it'd be a good way to go.
And in some ways, I agree with Alan. Like, if I knew how I was gonna die, then I could actively avoid that situation. But if I got the news that it was like, you will die by asphyxiation.
For somebody who was born in America,
is that how you say that word?
You have the hardest time saying words.
But I can say acquiesce just fine.
Well, glass houses, Trav. Acquiesces.
Hey.
Acquiesce.
See, you're even like fumbling it. Hey, and the words that I'm saying are coming from his writing, so you can't blame me.
But yeah, anyway, like if it was a way that was like you're gonna die in a way that's very like prone to happen, like basically anywhere, then that would suck because you can't just like avoid it. Like if it is just like a meteor situation, you could be like, I'm gonna meteor proof my house. Or
Why
something.
are we talking? It's very unlikely that it's going to be a meteor.
Well, no.
Probably be like a car crash or something. So then,
That's-
would you ever get in a car? Or
No, that's why I specifically, because that's the first thing that entered my mind was like get hit by a car. But then I was like, well, for the most part where all cars are, so you would just avoid all those places. But a meteor is literally like almost like a lightning strike. You just do not know. You can't prevent it. You don't know where you're going to get
out.
hit. You don't know how.
Okay, so let's say that you were
That's
told
literally like a
you were
random
going
thing.
to die via a car. Like you were going to get hit by a car.
I would
So
stay
now you
away
have
from
to
roads.
you have to avoid cars at all costs. But now, aren't you just basically like diminishing your what's the word? Happiness in life, your level of enjoyment,
Your
sure,
your quality of
Quality of
quality.
life.
Your quality of life, because now you're avoiding cars at all costs. What, you're just like staying inside all the time?
Well,
So
I guess
is it worth living at
really
that
and
point?
truly, I guess this part of the conversation is kind of irrelevant, just because we all chose that we'd rather know the time instead of how. So we wouldn't be necessarily avoiding anything. We would.
Well,
be,
I haven't chose yet.
You said I agree with Alan. Is what you said.
I said on the point that he.
Oh, good heavens. Okay, what would you choose?
Last week when Trav did the question, do you remember that he didn't get an answer? Now I know how he feels.
No, I asked you, or you. The thing is that you talked. I didn't even speak. You have been speaking for a long time, and so forgive us if we thought that you answered.
All right, so my answer is I'd probably rather know the time.
Okay.
It is everything. Every question is so long with you. Every answer just.
All right, we've been going 12 minutes already, so let's jump into the first question. What is the science behind sleep?
Mock, yeah, ing, yeah, bird, yeah, 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 mockingbird, don't everybody have you heard? She's gonna buy me a mockingbird, and if that mockingbird don't sing, she's gonna buy me a diamond ring, and if that diamond ring don't shine.
Hey, Lloyd, look, there's some people want to ride too.
Pick 'em up!
Trav got into that.
Yeah.
Dude,
It's like one of his favorite movies, though. So.
love Dumb and Dumber. I don't know how that pertains to the sleeping.
He was lip syncing it the entire time, and like throwing up devil horns or whatever.
I was doing exactly what Jim Carrey does.
Doesn't Jim Carrey like sing into like a beer bottle or something like that?
I don't think so. Or maybe he does. I don't know.
Was it the same one he peed in?
That's gross.
Who knows? But yeah, why did I pick that? Because it's a lullaby.
Oh.
If it's not sung by Harry and Lloyd. And then, therefore, it has to do with sleep. So, I went into this. So, early on, I kind of started looking at sleep a little bit more in the last few years as far as like, okay, it's something that I need to prioritize because you grow up. If you're anything like me, you just kind of like, whatever, sleep. I'll sleep when I die, right? Is basically the saying. It's like, I'm just going to push it. If I have to stay up late to get this done or that done, and then I got to be up early to do this and that, and you just live off of caffeine and, so you just keep pushing yourself. But I'm like, I know that sleep has got to be important. So I decided to take this time to be like, I'm going to really start digging into
I have
it.
a hunch that sleep is important.
So long story short, about 40 hours worth of research later, you are now going to get a 3-part series on sleep and the importance of sleep, the science behind sleep. We'll get into diseases with sleep. We'll get into like the benefits of sleep.
Like narcolepsy?
That is a disease. So, but on today's part 1 of this, the science behind sleep, we're going to go through basically like how does sleep happen? Like, what is happening while you're sleeping, right? Okay. So my first note was have a brief discussion with the guys as to why humans need to sleep. So this sounds like a crazy question, because if someone would have asked me this question before, I would have just said, because I'm tired and I need to rest. So then I go to sleep and then I wake up and I'm not as tired, right? What do you guys have to say?
Well, this is kind of like an interesting question that I've always like wondered is what's the difference between going to sleep, actually falling asleep, being unconscious, going through REM sleep or whatever, and just like, why can't you just lay there still conscious and feel like you got some sleep? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
like, what's the difference?
Yeah. So, like, for example, if you're saying, okay, I'm sleeping because I'm physically trying to rest, right? So why can I not just sit there and not move?
Yeah, just lay
not
there.
move my body. And in essence, my body should be getting rest.
Yeah.
Why do I have to be unconscious for my body to get rest?
Yes.
That's what you're asking.
That's
Okay.
a question of mine.
Trav, any thoughts on sleep, or just do you not really ever think about it? Because, I mean, I wouldn't say that I necessarily did until later in life.
I do pretty good at sleep. I mean, yeah, there's definitely nights that I don't get as much. Case in point, these nights, because we are here recording till long hours of the night. And I go home and I have to wind down. But normally, as soon as I get my kids into bed, I can pretty much pass out pretty quick. So, I mean, I know you need to do it. Again, you throw in what Alan asked. I don't know why there's a difference in that. But, I mean, your body just needs to regenerate the energy to get you through the next day.
Yeah.
However that works, I don't know.
And I agree with that. And the weird thing is, like what Alan said, is like it's not even just humans that have to sleep. Like all animals sleep. Like it's just something that's like common amongst all animals on Earth. And that was actually a point I was going to bring up, is exactly what Alan said. Like, why would evolution basically create something that puts your brain offline?
So
and
that
makes you
can just
more
be attacked
vulnerable
by something while you're
So
sleeping.
if you were like a caveman and you just like at any moment could be attacked by a saber-toothed tiger, why would your body like shut your brain off basically, and just be like, you're unconscious, so you're very vulnerable right now.
Because it feels good.
Yeah. So it is an interesting thing. So if you bring it down to its nuts and bolts, obviously we as society think a lot about nutrition. We think a lot about exercise. But sometimes the one thing that we neglect to think about is sleep. So I'm trying to focus on sleep because I like to eat whatever I want and I don't like to exercise. So
you don't want to talk about the thing that's hard for you to do. Like sleep actually comes natural. So let's talk about
I'm
that.
just saying, like, I should at least be good at one of these three things. No, but they're all important. But meaning, like, a lot of people will focus on nutrition and exercise because everywhere you see it in the media, you see it advertised everywhere, but you don't see as much about sleep advertised, right? But then all that is a build up to basically say, like, it's crazy, but with all the science that they've done behind it, they have a pretty good idea of things that do happen when you're sleeping, but they don't still have a complete understanding of why you have to sleep. It's still kind of an open-ended question. They just know that if you don't, you'll die. That's the one absolute with sleep.
I think I'm going to use that from now on. Like when my kids like wake me up too early, I'm like, it's been scientifically proven that if I do not sleep, I will die. And so will you.
And if
you do not leave me alone.
If it's anything like my kids, though, they'll just be like, that's cool, Dad. We've been waiting for you to die for quite some time now.
Oh, yeah, no, my kids don't care. They're like, then die because it's time to get up.
Because they'll be like, well, because my daughter is waiting for me to die so she can sell my stuff, if you remember.
I do. Do you even have that many cool things? I mean, I know you don't have our basketball cards. That's a whole another topic, but I know you don't have those.
Nope. I don't
Do
have
we-
much value.
Do we know like how long? Like there's statistics like you can go 3 days without water. You can go like a few weeks without food before you die. Do we know how long you can go without sleep before you die?
You can go several days, but once you get past a few days, especially like if you start getting into like the week range, you'll die pretty quick after that point. And it's crazy.
Isn't dying just basically just sleeping? So it's like you die, but then it's like, oh wait, no, here's sleep. Let's bring you back to life.
But the crazy thing is that they've found that even if you are up for like, so people have tried to break like the world record for like, I'm gonna stay awake. So like the world record was like 5 days, and then somebody broke it and like was awake for 6 straight days, you know. And then I think somebody got to like 7 or 8 straight days is like the record or something. But they had to actually
That is a record.
you don't want to break.
I'm okay, not even attempting.
But the thing is that the Guinness Book of World Records had to take that particular record out of their books and say, like, we're no longer doing this record because it is dangerous. Because, one, obviously you could die, but even the people who, like, a couple of the people that attempted it did eventually die shortly after. And then even if they didn't die, they had complications with their health for, like, the rest of their life. All because of, like, that 1 week that they broke the record with. So that's where it shows you how important it is. But then that brings up perfect transition, Trav. It brings up the question or the idea of sleep debt. So what is sleep debt? Sleep debt is just basically when you go to bed and if you only sleep for 4 hours in one night and you are short of the number of hours that your body requires, you build a sleep debt. So maybe you're negative 3 hours. And then if you do that, the next night you get 2 hours less sleep than you should, you're now negative 5 hours of sleep debt. And sleep debt is actually something that I like the way that this professor put it. He said you can like with financial debt, you can kind of like dodge it or whatever for a little while. With sleep debt, you cannot escape the sleep debt collectors. They will eventually catch up with you in the form of the fact that you'll just literally pass out.
Or the sleep debt collectors, like the iGoober fairies. Those fairies that spring the dust on.
Yep. The Sandman.
Yeah, iGoober fairies.
So
That's what they're called.
so anyway, so
Yeah,
here's
what's
some-
up with that? Why do you get eye crusties?
Do you cover this in any of your 3 days of sleepness?
I have zero comments on eye crusties. Go for it if you have it.
All right. I don't. I have no clue.
I thought you were going to be like, oh, well, I have very extensive details on eye goobers.
I don't.
I mean, it's the same as like, why do you create boogers or earwax? Your body's just naturally excreting things out of it to get rid of bad things, right?
I guess.
So, that would be my assumption. All right, so let's bust through this really quick. So here's some facts for you, sleep debt facts. 30% of adults report getting fewer than 6 hours of sleep per night. 70% of high school students report getting fewer than 8 hours of sleep per night. 40% of adults claim to have fallen asleep unintentionally at least once in the last month. And individuals with sleep debt are 7.5 times more likely to attempt suicide.
Well,
So do any of those jive with you?
I mean, I don't know. I've up to this point have not been counting my debt, my sleep debt. So I don't think I've actually fallen asleep unintentionally over the last month. There have been a couple of times when I'm at work that like I get super drowsy after lunch, and I'll just go into the bathroom because we don't just have like the stalls, the normal stalls that like it's just a full room. So you go in, and so I just sit there and I like put my head in my lap and I like pass out for like 5 minutes. But that comes. I think I've maybe done that twice since I've worked at my job over the last year and a half. So I don't think anything happened over this last month.
Do you go in there and like actually pull your pants down and sit on the toilet like you're gonna go, and then you just go to sleep, or do you just go in there with the intention of going to sleep? So you're just sitting on the
Just
toilet.
was a weird question.
So you're
So
just
do
sitting.
you actually pull your pants down? No, I just go in
Or
and
you
I
just
sit
go
down.
in and you sit down.
Yeah, I just sit down.
Fully clothed.
Fully clothed.
But like on the toilet?
Yeah. Well, because it's a seat.
Makes sense.
Does it have a top lid?
It
Or is it like
does.
just one of the open ones?
But
that
it's a little
doesn't?
bit more comfortable to just actually sit on the toilet seat because it's made for your butt.
So I've had times in the past where I've definitely fallen asleep unintentionally. I mean, even to the point where I would like go and put my name in for a haircut, and then I would just be waiting for my haircut, and then I'd pass out, and then I would wake up to like somebody be like, Dan, is there a Dan? And I'm like, oh, that's me.
Like,
What? I've been waiting for 10 minutes. You can't expect me to stay awake. But anyway, yeah, so obviously, I don't know. Any of these, you guys probably, Trav, do you get 6 hours of sleep a night?
usually.
Alan, have you fallen asleep unintentionally?
Yep.
Okay. So you guys fit into the sleep debt problem right here. So the national...
How do I fit in the sleep debt?
You're probably tried to attempt suicide recently.
I don't think I'd fall into the sleep debt.
All right, fine, Trav, you're good at sleep.
Thank you. I told you.
I know. Fine. Lucky.
It's one thing that I kind of have down. I should get more, but I at least get 6.
So
What if somebody like had an actual ego about that, like just strutting around? It's like, I'm better asleep than you, piece of non-sleeper.
I'm a top 10% sleeper. But yeah, like the national annual sleep deficit, they calculate to be roughly 90 billion hours of sleep debt that's accrued in our country every year.
Wow.
So that's...
We should all just have like a sleep day
It
and
was one big sleep recession.
catch up on our sleep. All right. So problems with obviously not sleeping. The short-term problems that it can cause are transportation-related accidents, work-related accidents, loss of productivity in the workplace. They calculated it. If you take the amount of lost productivity that they attribute to sleep deficits in the workplace, they calculate that to be worth about $212 billion per year. So it's costly as well to not.
Mucho monies.
Which is true. Have you guys ever been at work and you're kind of like, you're tired enough that you just like, I have whatever I do today is just kind of got to be like easy because I can't. I can't like read something that's boring or something today because if I do, I'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's lost productivity for you. So Trav might
think that happened to me
actually
last
have
night.
a sleep debt problem. That happened to you last night.
pretty sure. But it's super annoying because I work in an ER, so I'm at the whim of people coming in. You're just like hoping for a slow night, and then
But if you're super
bunch of people
tired,
show
wouldn't
up
you
and it's like-
almost rather have it be busy? Because if it's slow, then you're more prone to fall asleep.
well, I'm more irritable when I'm tired. So
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, long-term problems. What do you think could happen if you don't sleep over a long period of time?
Death.
Well, we talked about death.
All right.
That is.
If you just have a sleep deficit for a long period of time, not even that you're like not sleeping at all, but you're just not getting enough sleep.
Loss of memory.
So, yeah, that could be. But here's a few. Weight gain, diabetes, heart attack, high blood pressure, arrhythmia, stroke, more prone to get colds, and depression are a few of the things that can happen solely if you got like an hour less sleep than you should per night or something like that. So it doesn't even have to be that much, but after a while it just adds up. So that is sleep debt.
It's from an hour of less sleep.
Yeah, I mean, even if you got 16 minutes of less sleep in a night, that's been shown to actually cause you
But
to
less
make
than what?
one extra mistake the next day.
Less than what though?
So as an adult, you should be getting somewhere between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a night.
So if I get 6, that's considered sleep debt.
Yep. You would be probably an hour short.
That's what the math says.
All right. Let's get past that, though. That's the boring stuff. So, process of sleep. There's two like primary substrates, is what I call it, but I don't know if that's the proper word of sleep. But there's non-REM and REM sleep, right? You guys have probably heard the two different terms before. So non-REM sleep is when you go look at it from a scientific or a standpoint or whatever, when they do the EEG. Do you know what the EEG stands for?
Well, you're pointing to your ear, so it has to do something with your ear.
I meant my head, but an EEG is an electroencephalogram, and it measures kind of the wavelengths and patterns
Of your brain
activity. Excuse me. So when you're sleeping, you usually have a slow wave pattern. When you're awake, you have very active, like desynchronized type of pattern. When you're sleeping, it's a slow synchronized pattern that they see. Also, when you're in non-REM sleep is when you kind of have your slow, rolly eye movements. Like if you watch people like sleeping in that deep sleep, their eyes may slowly just kind of roll around in their heads. But the thing with it in non-REM sleep is you can actually still dream. So a lot of people, it's a misnomer because I always thought you can only dream in REM sleep. But you can actually dream in both REM and non-REM sleep. But when you dream in non-REM sleep, it's just like the boring, mundane dreams, typically. So the dreams where it's just like, I went to work today.
So is that like the last dream, how you thought you woke up? So you were like in REM when you were doing your survival test and also at the Bellagio. But then you thought you woke up, but then you realized that you must be still sleeping, but you just carried on and went to a bunch of work meetings.
So yeah, maybe I transitioned from REM to non-REM, and then that's how I had to finish my dream off.
All right.
So yeah, it's possible to dream in non-REM. When you're in non-REM, though, you can have muscle spasms. Your body can move.
I hate when that happens, when you're like, when you're starting to doze.
Yeah.
And your body's, and I know that there is a medical term for it. I actually saw it I actually think it was on House, but so who knows if it's real or not. But like, you're just starting to doze and all of a sudden your body's just like, it's like, are you alive?
That happens all the time. I watched my son Kai do that the other day. He fell asleep in my car, and then we were just driving, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just like flipped out and just like flailed his arms and his legs. But yeah, because you feel like you're falling. That's why. But yeah, it was a famous. I'd have to remember. I'd have to remember who it was. It might have been Thomas Edison or something, but he figured out like, oh, I have some of my best ideas if I'm like almost asleep, and so he'd put like ball.
Why do you laugh at the? Travis is laughing in the corner.
I don't know why it's so funny. It's your face when you did it. I can't even do it. Okay.
Jeez, I'm just trying to talk about.
Just move forward.
So yeah, like Thomas Edison or someone would put ball bearings in their hands, and then they would hold them so as they fell asleep, when they got to that point, they would drop them and it would wake them up. And then he would be like, I might have a good idea in this state. So
What?
It's a more creative state.
yeah, that's supposedly supposed to be more creative state. All right, so let's jump into REM sleep. So REM sleep is obviously, instead of having the slow wave moving patterns, you have fast desynchronized patterns, more similar to like when you're awake. And then REM is named after the fact that you have rapid eye movements. So REM stands for, or REM stands for rapid eye movement. So this is the stage that is most associated with dreaming, and this is where you would have your vivid, active, and bizarre dreams.
See, that's why I always thought you only dream in REM sleep, is because I was like, well, if you're dreaming and you're looking around in your dream, then maybe your muscles of your eyes are still like working and just like moving your eyes in your head, you know. But apparently that's wrong. You can still dream without REM.
Yeah. But it's just boring and mundane.
So those are dreams where you're just not looking around.
Like,
You're
have you
just
ever had a
staring at
dream
something.
where you really, like, you literally thought you woke up, got ready, and you're like experiencing getting ready in real time?
Yes.
And then you all of a sudden wake up and you're like, dang it. I thought I already went through all this. Now I got to do it again.
I actually remember the last time I did that. That's all I'm going to say.
I thought there was a story behind this.
It's not too exciting. It's just my wife and I were staying in a hotel, but we had to get up at a specific time in order to get the breakfast that came with the hotel room.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, in the back of my mind, because I set an alarm, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I got to get up and, like, at least be awake enough that I can go get the food. But then we also had to call and let them know. So that was kind of the thing that, like, I needed to get up and call them to bring it to us. And if we missed the time, then we didn't get the breakfast. So anyway, I just remember in my dream, I'm like getting up and like just putting on pants, just getting ready to call. And then like all of a sudden I realized that I'm still laying there. And I was like, oh man, I didn't do this yet.
Now I still have to get up and call. But yeah, so, and then the other kind of interesting thing that I found interesting about REM sleep is, so I said already in non-REM you can move, right? So in REM, your body actually excretes a chemical that paralyzes you. So you can't move, and because if you could move, you would actually act out your dreams.
Yeah, those are the dreams I hate. Like when they're super scary dreams. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but you feel paralyzed in your dream. Like you can't move.
Yeah.
And then you're
like, if you ever had a dream where like you're trying to run away,
Or
but
like
you,
I'm trying to
can't
scream.
go very fast or something. Yeah. And you actually, they have found that because your body is paralyzed in real life, it actually does sometimes translate into the dream, and you feel that way in your dream because you can't move.
There is a, and maybe you're going to cover this at some point in time, but there is a situation. In fact, my coworker told me that he's dealt with this on occasion, that he has sleep paralysis, that basically like your body is still in the sleep stage to where you're paralyzed, but you are yourself, you're conscious.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that actually happens to quite a few people, and they wake up, but they're still in that paralysis state, and then they can't move, or
And they can't talk,
or some people like will only have like half their body will remain paralyzed and not the other half, or like, different things like that. But
it's super interesting.
yeah, but yeah, that's why, is because your body actually goes into a paralysis state while you're in REM sleep, or else you could end up hurting someone or yourself or something like that if you're acting out your dreams all the time. So then that brought up an interesting experiment they did with cats. So they went in and they figured out, okay, if we create lesions on certain parts of the cat's brains, that basically will prevent them from entering that paralysis state. Like, what would happen? Because typically you could watch the cat, they're fairly similar. They'd be in non-REM, and then they go into, like, they would fall into like a deep sleep, and then their head would just like kind of fall even further towards the ground when they reached REM sleep. But instead, the cats that they created these lesions on, instead of them going and like actually becoming paralyzed, as soon as they went from non-REM to REM sleep, their heads perked up and they started looking around and acting out as if like they were encountering something or dealing with something that wasn't there. So I guess it's the same thing if they did that to humans. I would imagine that.
Could you imagine what your life would be like with all the dreams that you have?
I would have to be like in like a sealed box or something.
Your just wife wakes up and she's like,
Danny,
what are you doing?
why are you in the laundry basket again?
Like, I'm watering our tomato plants. It's very important.
But like my dog Garen, I wonder sometimes like what he's dreaming. Like, what does a dog dream about? Because every once in a while when he's asleep, he'll start barking, but not full on bark. But it'll be like because he's not opening his mouth, but it's just, I'm like, what is he dreaming about? What's he barking at? in
My
his
boxer
dream?
does that too, so might be a boxer thing. Well, I've seen other dogs do it too.
But it goes, but that just goes to show you that all animals, dogs included, I mean, typically mammals, we specifically have like the way that we sleep versus other animals, but dogs are mammals, so makes sense. So then that gets us into, so there's stages of the sleep cycle that you go through every night, and we've covered them basically, but you have your non-REM and your REM, but there's a stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3 non-REM sleep, and then the REM sleep. Stage 1 is basically just when you're like drifting off and slowly transitioning, you're just basically passing out. Then you drift into stage 2, which is where your brain waves continue to slow down even more, but you're easily awoken. This is the stage where you could have like that feeling of falling or the spasm, or any noise could just wake you up or whatever. You're easily awoken. Stage 3 is when your brain waves go to their slowest, and that's when you're in the deepest sleep. So that's when it's like the hardest to wake you up. Then you transition quickly from stage you go into REM sleep. And then basically during REM sleep is what we've described. The first time around, it's usually 10 to 20 minutes, but throughout the night, typically the REM stage gets a little longer each time, and your non-REM stage gets shorter each time. So that's a whole sleep cycle for most people takes about 90 minutes. So most people have about 5 to 6 sleep cycles per night. And then when you wake up, almost always, if you wake up naturally especially, you're waking up from REM. So you almost never wake up from non-REM. You're always waking up from REM, which is why, I don't know, do you guys ever like feel like you have more dreams just before you wake up, like in the early morning hours?
Yeah. If I do, yeah. If I can remember dreams, it's because it's just I woke up right at that moment, and that's what I can remember. So
yeah. So that's the same with me. Is like that's what I feel like too, is because you're coming out of REM sleep, and that's natural and normal. That's what you want to have happen. And then they say the larger the brain, the longer the sleep cycle in the animal. So I tried testing my sleep cycle, and it was just one long sleep cycle the whole night. Oh, so I don't know what that means, but
it doesn't mean anything. A big brain doesn't necessarily mean that you're like smarter.
It just means I have a big brain.
It just means I have a big head. I have to have big hats, and that's cool.
I've been waiting for that joke this whole time. I feel like I didn't present it well.
You did not, and you left an opening for me to razz you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Shaquille O'Neal's pretty smart, but I don't think he's the smartest person in the world.
I don't know. He's pretty smart in business.
Yeah,
we don't have to get into that.
Doesn't he own like a whole bunch of like restaurants now?
Yeah, the dude definitely put his money to good use. So
yeah. But anyway, so the REM part though is when you're actually getting rest. So when you're building up a sleep, or non-REM, I'm sorry, when you're building up the sleep debt that we talked about throughout the day, especially. I mean, so even if you're getting plenty of sleep each night, you're still building that sleep debt throughout the day. You're just getting to the point where your body's getting more and more tired, and it's going to require sleep. So when you're in that stage 3 that I talked about, the deep sleep area, that's when you're actually like paying back that debt. That's when your body's getting that rest necessary to kind of offset the time that you were awake. But then they also found, interesting enough, that every time you go into the stage 3 non-REM, your body requires you to go into REM. So they kind of go hand in hand. So this causes you actually, like, if you don't sleep for like 24 hours and you're like, I'm just going to sleep for the next 24 hours to make up for it, it doesn't work. You can't do it because your body will automatically start kicking you into REM, and you're not getting that sleep, the type of sleep you need. So it's actually going to take you several days of just trying to get like 8 to 10 hours of sleep to pay back that debt. That's the best way to do it. So you can't just be like, going to be awake for 24 hours, going to go to bed for 24 hours. It's got to be like, I'm going to be awake for 24 hours because I have to. I'll sleep 10 hours, 10 hours, 10 hours, and maybe I'll get back to normal. Okay? Guys good with that?
Yep. Sounds good.
Just trying to give you guys some good sleep advice, but Trav doesn't need because he's already good at this. So
I got to excel at something.
all right. So just to get into the last little bit here before we end part 1. But sleep requirement by age. So did you guys know that as you go through your life, you're going to need different sleep requirements? So as a baby, you need about 16 hours of sleep a day. Small children need about 10 to 11 hours a day. Teenagers need about 8.5 to 9.5 hours per day. Adults, 7 to 9 hours. Senior citizens actually can get away with less than 6 hours of sleep. And then it's an interesting curve, but basically each decade that you age, once you're an adult, you require about 28 minutes, or your sleep duration usually decreases about 28 minutes per night.
So that's why old people are always up so early.
Yep.
That, yeah.
But then you would assume that they were also up pretty late. So I don't know why they have to go to dinner at 4.
Because they're hungry at 4.
They have the early bird specials.
Yeah, no, I think that's why they go. Is because they can get the senior citizen discount at 4 o'clock, beat the rush. But they probably really don't. They would be happy
just
if
logistics.
they get at 6. But optimally, they figure over the course of your life, if you can average between 6.5 and 7.5 hours of actual sleep per night, that's the optimal range to be in, and that gives you your lowest risk of mortality. Anything outside of that, too much, too little, actually increases your risk of dying. So you should target. I specifically have targeted 7 hours of sleep per night for like the last few months, maybe a year now, and I love it.
Yeah.
So, yep. And I don't need to get into it now, but I also try to find times for siestas.
I can't find time for those. There's too much to do.
All right. And then, have you guys ever heard of the circadian clock?
Yep.
Nope.
So, this is something that I stumbled across a couple years ago, and I actually became somewhat obsessed with it. But it's basically a mechanism in your brain that regulates your wake and sleep cycles. So, you just kind of naturally have, like, do you ever go through the day and like people will say like after lunch I always like feel so tired and like I just want to sleep, right? So this is part of just like the natural circadian rhythm, and it's actually not, because people will say it's because I'm digesting my food, that's why I feel tired in the afternoons because I ate lunch, right? But it's not. It's actually a natural circadian rhythm, and then everyone has kind of maybe a little bit different natural rhythm. So for me, for example, like I have good energy in the mornings when I first wake up, but then in mid-morning I have a drop off. And then I actually regain some good momentum like through noon and into the early afternoon. And then the late afternoon I have another drop off. And then I regain some more energy towards the evening. That's my natural circadian rhythm.
Is it based on like day and night though?
So yep, and that's called being entrained. So all animals, mammals especially, have a circadian rhythm. They're all basically 24 hours in length, roughly. But some animals or some people may have like slightly shorter durations, and some might have slightly longer durations. So if you have what you call a free-running circadian clock in your head, meaning it's not entrained to anything. So if you were just sitting in a dark room, or you had an animal in a dark room and it didn't know like what time of day it was, then if it had like a circadian clock naturally that was like 22 hours long, it would go to bed or like 2 hours earlier each night and wake up 2 hours earlier each morning, until like basically it would cycle back around to like the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then same vice versa. If it's like a 26-hour circadian clock, they would go to bed 2 hours later, wake up 2 hours later. But your body naturally does get entrained, and the number one thing that causes that is the sun up, sundown. So it gets entrained to the light cycle. And then so when it gets dark, your body naturally starts to feel like, oh, now I need to start getting tired. And then when it gets light, oh, it's time for me to wake up, right? So it's just like a natural clock that your body has built into it over time. So since you have this, and then that brings in like the morning birds, some people are more prone to just be like, I like to wake up earlier because their circadian clock is kind of more built that way. Mm-hmm. And then night owls.
Not me at all.
Yeah. Night owls are opposite. Their circadian clocks are more delayed, and so they want to stay up later, but they have a harder time waking up. But there's natural things that you can do to kind of offset certain things that cause it. Because the things that like really throw off your circadian clock is like when you travel somewhere and you have jet lag. That's because your circadian clock is completely thrown off. On the same time, if you do swing shifts like Alan, like you do, then that's another thing that can cause a major disruption in your circadian clock. So what you have
Just
to
say
do,
clock. I think we get that it's the circadian clock.
Wait, yeah, but it's what's called circadian clock. It's a rhythm and a clock. But yeah, so it's just they find like little things, like it's easier for you to what they call phase delay. So it's easier for you to actually like stay up later, force yourself to stay up later than it is for you to force yourself to wake up earlier. Like most people can do that.
That's definitely me.
Yeah. And that's most
I
people.
hate waking up when I'm
So it's easier for that reason. It's easier for people to travel from like east to west. They can deal with the jet lag easier that way
Oh, okay.
than if they go from west to east. And then vice versa. If you are going to be doing swing shifts, you really should schedule them so you go from day shifts to night shifts, not night shifts to day shifts. Going from night shifts to day shifts actually not only is harder on you, but it's like way worse on your health long term. So if your job is having you do that, you should talk to them and be like, I can only go from day shifts to night shifts, not the other way around.
I'll let them know.
And then the other last thing is blind people struggle with this sometimes because they can't get entrained because they can't see. And so they actually can end up where they have the free running circadian clock and they need something to help them can keep that time so that they can actually go to bed like when they're supposed to go to bed and wake up when they're supposed to wake up instead of just becoming completely just like on their own natural free running circadian clock.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So
Why? How come? So, if you're in, you said REM sleep, and then you have sleep paralyzation.
Yeah.
Like, how come your ears still work and you wake up from an alarm? Why is do you know anything about that?
Well, I don't think your ears require you to not be paralyzed. Like,
Your
if there's a
senses
guy
aren't
who
paralyzed necessarily.
Yeah, you
except
don't
for
see
maybe
like a
speech,
quadriplegic who like is like also deaf. Like he can still hear.
Fine, all right. That's
but why can't you hear? I broke my back.
With the fact that he answered,
Great.
he should be like, huh?
All right. Well, that was part one of the science behind sleep. I'm assuming this will be you'll have the second part next week and then the third part the week after.
Yeah. So next week we'll go into probably more the negatives. So like the diseases and the issues that come with sleep or that are sleep related. And then the week after that we'll go more into like the benefits and like what is actually happening in your body that's good for you. That's why you're sleeping, you know, the things that are actually positive. But really quickly, because this is one of those subjects that I realized was difficult to explain and talk about. So I'm just trying to get back feedback from you two, like what out of that was like interesting so I can focus more on the interesting things.
Can we talk about it, not on the podcast? When we have our little meetings. I feel like that would be a more useful time to do that.
Well, you don't want to. I just figured that maybe the people would understand.
Well, if we talk about it off the podcast, then you can figure it out and give them what I don't know. Just figure we don't need to have a powwow 55 minutes into this. Okay, Alan. All right, let's move on to what's that? Or no, that's me. What are the most fascinating exoplanets? And what you're hearing right here is just static.
Getting a full play-by-play.
all right. If anyone knows what that's from, leave us a comment.
Okay.
Wait, I think I know what it's from.
What?
Should I leave a comment or should I say it?
Just kidding. You can guess.
Contact.
No.
Oh,
So that was
well, that sucks.
an audio interpretation of a lightning storm on Saturn that Cassini picked up. So there was a storm going on, lightning flashes, but it's also sped up because like every single one of those little was a lightning strike. But lightning gives off light waves, and not just invisible light, but also radio waves that can be picked up by an AM radio. I don't know if you guys have ever been listening to the AM radio during a thunderstorm, but occasionally, like you'll get little crackles and.
That's the only time I like to listen to AM radio is during
to hear the
thunderstorms.
So to Trav, all he knows is that all AM radio is just crackly all the time.
So yeah, that was sped up, and so every second I think correlates to about 4 minutes and 18 seconds.
So what's
What's
Cassini?
Cassini.
Cassini.
It was a space probe sent to Saturn to study Saturn.
Duh.
And
He says that like everyone knows this.
oh,
Well, duh.
That's what I said.
Space
Duh.
probe that was sent to Saturn.
You don't know
it
Cassini?
was like a it revolutionized our understanding of Saturn and its rings. Because before it was like on its way to, I think like its power was dying, its battery, whatever. So they decided they were going to actually like put it into an orbit where it could continuously like fly through the rings of Saturn and get closer and closer to Saturn. And those are like the most amazing pictures we have of the rings. They're pretty insane if you actually look at them. But and then it crashed into Saturn and it's gone. This only happened like a few months ago that it finally crashed into Saturn.
The rings though are made out. They're not like solid rings. Like they're actually just
not
like little particles, right?
Like, what if we did go there and they were like actual like hula hoops? But no, yeah, they're ice chunks and particles, just like millions and millions of them. So from far away, they look like it's a solid ring. But yeah, there are a lot of gaps in them that we've discovered with Cassini. But I'm not actually here to talk about
Saturn. Because Saturn is in our solar
yes,
system.
I'm here to talk about exoplanets. And an exoplanet is basically just a planet that is not in our solar system and is orbiting another star. So a whole different solar system. And it's only been like since 1992 that we've always, we've had people like, I think there most likely will be planets around other suns. Like why would we be any different, but it was, I think it was like 1992. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Danny, if you have better information, but 1992, I think, is like when we detected the first exoplanet around a pulsar.
I think it was sometime between 1991 and 1993.
But we detected a tiny little exoplanet going around a pulsar, not by just like directly seeing it because it's super far away and you can't do that. But because the way its gravity was moving the pulsar, it makes the pulsar like look like it's getting further and then closer and then further and closer, like gyrating back and forth, which pulsar, by the way, is a super fast spinning neutron star that emits pulses of light that are very like accurate, like basically more accurate, the most accurate clock you could ever have in the universe. But if you have something that's slightly changing its distance away and toward you, then it's the light that comes from it. When it's further away, it'll take a little bit longer to get to you. When it's closer, it'll get to you faster. So that's how we figured out, something is gravitationally moving this pulsar back and forth. And that was the first planet outside our solar system that we ever like confirmed.
And which star was this around?
It was, I don't know the star's name. It's a pulsar though.
Oh.
But it might have been Pegasus. I think it is Pegasus.
And is the pulsar, is that like the brightest thing in the universe?
I don't think it's the brightest thing.
A leading question. Sounds like you know the answer.
Why? Do you have information that says it's the brightest
No,
thing?
oh wait, no, I'm thinking of a quasar.
Quasar. Yeah, quasars are
Okay.
pretty bright. Supernovas are also bright. you can see quasars and supernova from damn near across the entire universe.
Yeah.
So,
But a quasar is just like where it spits light like up and down in essence, even though there really is no up and down, I guess, in the universe. But
out of its like poles.
yeah.
Is that what, like the jets, kind of like jets of light?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a pulsar is a star like our sun that has gone through its life cycle and shed its outer layers, and then its core has collapsed down to it doesn't have enough mass to collapse all the way down to a black hole and crush in on itself. It has enough mass to become basically a neutron star, which what's the word? Electron degeneracy, I think it is. So atoms, the electrons.
That's where I was gonna go.
Exactly the word
in
that
atoms.
I was
No, in
thinking.
atoms you have the electrons like going around the nucleus, and they kind of create a electrical barrier that like they repel each other.
Well, yeah, that's the protons and the neutrons.
Well, the protons and neutrons are in the nucleus.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The
and then the electrons
and
are
then
being,
the electrons are going around.
they're
it.
spinning around it. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's this natural repulsion, so they're not just like smushing together. But a neutron star, it has collapsed with enough gravity to break that repulsion barrier and actually push the electrons into the nucleus. An electron is a negative charge, proton is a positive charge, so it smashes the electrons and protons together, and you get a net neutral charge. So all you're left with is all neutrons, basically. So these are like super, super dense.
That's why they call them neutron stars.
Yeah, because they
Interesting.
turn into basically just pure neutron is what they're made of.
And they're
And
considered super dense. At
yeah,
that
they're
point,
like
right?
they're like the most dense object there is other than a black hole,
Yeah.
where like a teaspoon weighs as much as Mount Everest if you had a teaspoon of it. So
Would you
it's
like a
one of those.
teaspoon
A pulsar is
neutrons, Trav?
What?
Would you like a teaspoon of neutrons?
No. Is that a question that you can ask somebody? Like, is that
Yeah,
relevant to?
He just talked about neutrons.
But has that ever been uttered to anybody in the history of life?
yeah, I just uttered it to you.
Would you like a teaspoon of neutrons?
It's like, what's the case? So what's that?
funny
show?
because I would actually love one. A teaspoon of neutrons, 'cause-
Futurama. You guys familiar with that show?
Yes.
Yeah. So that one Dibbler, is that the character? It's like
The crab guy?
no, it's like the little
Oh
black,
yeah, maybe like
fuzzy
he poops.
cute kind of
Yeah,
creature, but he poops like
dark matter.
Yeah, but it's like super dense and it's like super heavy. So it just made me think of that.
Okay.
If someone came and they offered me a teaspoon of neutrons, I would take it. That would be awesome.
How would
I'd
you?
be the
how
only
would you
one.
take it?
Okay. What are
weighs too
exoplanets? We stopped talking about neutrons.
So basically, a pulsar is a fast spinning neutron that gives off light in flashes. Does that sum it up for you?
Yes.
Sorry, I'll stop asking questions.
So
Questions. Just ask relevant questions.
So as of July of 2019, there are 4,096 confirmed exoplanets in around 353 different stars.
So what is that? That's like a little more than 10. It's like 11 or 12 per star on average.
No. Oh, did I say 300? I meant around 3,053
Oh, so that's like
different
one
star
point-
systems.
1 point, like a little less than 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with 664 of those systems having more than one planet that we've confirmed. Did you have any questions about Earth size planets, Danny?
Yes, so Earth.
we set this up so you could kind of interview me and ask a few questions if you wanted to, but we weren't talking about like, would you like a teaspoon of neutrons? So you can ask questions,
Okay.
just don't ask do I want neutrons?
So
My answer is
don't
yes.
ask neutral questions. You want me to ask positive or negative questions? Okay. So, but yeah, like questions I would have about exoplanets, because I think exoplanets it's an interesting thing to think about, right? Because then I think what it naturally leads to is like, hey, there's all these different variations of planets that I'm assuming made out of different materials and ultimately like, well, can some of them harbor life? Are they like Earth-like, something like that? So yes, to start that train of thought, I guess. So out of those 4,000 some odd exoplanets that they found, do they know what those exoplanets are made out of from a material standpoint? Can they tell like, oh, this planet is made up of a lot of like has iron and this and that in it, or is it? I mean, can they tell that? And if so, how do they know that?
Yeah, so there are like actually an amazing amount. There's an amazing amount of information you can get just by observing an exoplanet that's light years away. That I didn't even know we knew all this stuff. But so as far as what a planet is made of, so if you're looking for an Earth-like planet, which by the way, Earth-like, I've realized when I was like Googling like how many Earth-like planets have we found? There's no like just number you can say because there's so many different variables to what Earth is. There's its mass. You could have the same mass, but not the same density. You could have, and then its density, how big it is volume-wise or radius-wise, what its composition is. Does it have an atmosphere? Does it have a electro or a magnetic field? So there's no set answer of like how many Earth-sized planets. But if you are looking for an Earth-like planet that life can live on, you might want one that's solid with a solid ground like Earth and is a rocky planet.
Yeah.
Which means you're going to be looking for more dense planets. Earth is the most dense planet in our solar system because it has a giant iron core.
Size can be important at some point, meaning,
no, size doesn't matter.
That's what they say.
it's the motion of the exoplanet. But but no, like, because obviously if you have a planet, even if it was solid, but it was huge, like, it was the size of Jupiter, like the gravity on that would be immense, right?
Well, yeah, so if it's as dense as Earth and the size of Jupiter, life would be just crushed pretty much.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't.
So yes, at some point the size would matter, but it could be, 20% bigger than Earth or 20% smaller than Earth or something like that. But I think when I ask about Earth-like planets, it's not so much the size per se that I'm asking about, but it's more, is there planets in what they would consider the Goldilocks zone around other stars, which would be like an habitable zone where it's not too hot, it's not too cold, and then primarily probably liquid water would be a huge factor in
where
that.
it's not too cold and it's just ice, and it's not too hot where it's just evaporated away.
Yeah,
you can actually have liquid water to sustain life. So, well, there is actually the closest exoplanet that we have found is actually orbiting the closest star to us, which is 4.25 light years away, and is called Proxima Centauri. The planet is just Proxima Centauri b. That's how they name them. They name it after the star. The star is considered Proxima Centauri A, and then you have the first planet they discover around that star, B, and then C if you discover another one.
What if they discovered 26 planets?
Then you would get to Z.
Well, no.
No, AA.
Okay, so they do go AA.
Trav hated that question.
Do you have a better way of wording that question?
Did we need the question?
There could be a star. I bet you there is a star that has 26 planets. surrounding
Okay.
it.
All right. I want to ask a question.
Okay.
What are the most fascinating exoplanets?
Well, so I was going to save that for last because that was
I know, because you and I were talking about this before, and it was very fascinating.
Well, I kind of changed it because I couldn't really like do too much on just the most fascinating exoplanets because in my head that kind of was a more boring thing. Travis,
That was the
but I
the
do
things
have a
that you
few.
told me out in the living room were like amazing.
Okay, I'll
tell me
finish
about ice
Let me
daggers
finish
and-
telling you about Proxima Centauri B real quick.
Okay.
It's in the habitable zone of its star, which is a red dwarf star, which is 10 times smaller in mass than our sun.
So it's a
And
lot closer.
cooler. Yeah, it's a lot cooler. So the habitable zone is it's a lot closer in.
So would this be like equivalent to like where Mercury is or
No,
Venus?
it's way it's
Even
this
closer
is
than that?
We're talking 4.5 million miles away from its star versus Mercury is like 30-ish, 30 something million miles.
Wow.
So it's pretty close in there because this star is not giving off a lot of heat because it's so small. It's about the size of Earth and the density of Earth. And when they first discovered it, they thought, "Ooh, this could be like so close to us, and it's about Earth-like. It's in the habitable zone. Like this would be an awesome place to look for life." But it turns out its star, we have detected just massive flares coming off of this star that would basically cook anything near it.
So it's really not in the habitable zone.
So exactly, like we need to maybe redefine the habitable zone because there are many factors that factor into whether life can. So that's Proxima Centauri B. And so I'll get into what Trav wanted to know.
Thank you.
And this will be the way I'll sum this segment up. Did you know? Well, Trav knows now.
I know
Danny,
now, but I had
did you
comments.
know?
I had comments.
Oh,
that
are you gonna make comments?
I reserved them from when you originally told me.
So there is a planet that we have discovered that is so close to its star and it is so hot that it has the star powers wind speeds on this planet of up to 15 times the speed of sound.
So what's that? 15 times
Mach 15.
650-ish. So
What is that?
about 10,000 miles
He
per
has
hour.
to mutter the numbers so you think that he's like 650 times. The sheer fact that you have to like mutter off that it's like, oh, I know the speed of what was it?
sound.
I know the speed of sound. It's 650.
Roughly. So it's about 10,000 miles per hour.
Sounds good.
Danny, we know you're smart, okay? You don't have to secretly tell us.
I was really doing the calculation.
Okay.
So not only is this the heat from its star, because it's so close, powering wind speeds of Mach 15, but sand melts and evaporates on this planet into the sky and then condenses as molten glass. So then you get raindrops of glass, molten glass that are falling, and as they fall, they cool and they harden into shards of glass. So now the situation you're left with, if you were on this planet, is shards of glass being thrown around at Mach 15 by super high winds.
And my comment to that would have is, oh man, nobody would be out there singing the song if raindrops were
Lemon
drops and gumdrops. Oh, what a rain that would be, standing outside with my mouth open wide going, ah!
You were saving that for like 2 hours.
I was.
Okay.
It's been so long since I've thought about that.
They probably wouldn't even get to that part of the song before they were dead.
You know what? Semantics, Daniel. These are all hypotheticals anyway. Somebody living on a planet that is out of our solar system that is close enough to a star that can melt its rain or sand or whatever. Yeah. So yes, all hypotheticals. But
So there's another one. I'll do two more. There's another one that it's I think I heard 4 times the mass of Jupiter, and so its gravity is so great, and then also it's super close to its sun or its star. The gravity is so great and hot that you get, or this is an elliptical orbit going super elliptical orbit. And it gets so close to its star.
so for those of us who don't necessarily understand that, I'm
super
imagining it's
skinny
more oval,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So, meaning that when it's in like the long side of the oval per se, then it's super close to the star, and then when it's in the ends of the oval, it's like far away from the star.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically. So I mixed up the last 2 planets. This one's not
You know
an
what?
elliptical orbit.
I don't even think-
This one I'm talking about is so close to its star and has so much gravity that chemistry works different when it comes to like water molecules, and you can end up with something they call ice 10, which is basically hot ice that you
Ice?
Yeah, you have ice.
I heat up
You have
the ice.
You have water
in the microwave.
You have water that is a solid like ice, but at like 400 degrees. So you get hot ice.
Wait, and this is all
the
due
ice
to
cubes.
increased gravity?
Increased gravity and heat. Yeah, and energy.
And so somehow it just, because the increased gravity, it compresses
Well,
them
yeah.
to a solid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like on Jupiter, there's something called metallic hydrogen, which its gravity, like at its core, is enough to smash hydrogen so close together that it becomes conductive, and you get like hydrogen metal, basically.
So to clarify, the first one you talked about, was that the elliptical orbit one?
No, the
No,
first
so
one
now
was
I'm going to
fine.
talk about the elliptical orbit one.
Oh, okay. So the first one is really close to its star, and so is this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the last one is another planet this is the elliptical one where it's its orbit is so elliptical, meaning it shoots way out. It's super oval, basically. It shoots way out from its
It
star.
almost sounds like you're gonna do like a your mama joke every time you say that. Like, it is so elliptical.
How elliptical is it?
that your
It's like your
mama is fat.
Your mama is so elliptical that she does.
This will be interesting.
She does Pilates in a circle.
Yeah.
I had nothing. This sucked. Let's delete this part.
Do you guys want to hear about this planet?
I
or
do.
not? Jesus Christ. It's so elliptical that most of the time in its orbit, it's way far away from this star. And its atmosphere is cold and, cold.
Super cold.
I don't know why I just kept going with that. But whenever it comes back around, it picks up speed and is super close to its star for 24 hours. And so you get the side that is facing the star during that time gets superheated so fast compared to the backside of it, which is still cool, that it creates a giant shock wave and literally explodes its atmosphere. And the shock wave just goes around the planet. And then it goes back out and it settles down, cools down, comes back, and then another just explosion of the atmosphere.
So what does explosion of the atmosphere mean or do? Like,
it means you have so much energy being pumped into this one side of it compared to the cool side. You have such a difference in
And so like,
temperature.
that energy has to go somewhere.
Yeah, that energy has to dissipate throughout, but it's being heated so quickly and so much that it's like a shock wave going through its atmosphere. Just that's my sound.
You know that?
It goes back to the whole idea that like it wants to equalize, but
Yeah.
it happens so fast that it can't just like slowly or naturally equalize. It has to equalize in basically a violent shock wave, like what you would picture a sound wave would look like traveling around the world.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, for the source that I got this information, so you thought the Mach 15 was high wind speeds. This one, when its atmosphere explodes, it has wind speeds of up to I think 28,000 miles per hour, something like that.
Wow. And just to correct myself from earlier, Mach is closer to 750 miles per hour. All right. No, that's really cool. Actually, like I now want to learn more about exoplanets.
Oh, go do it.
This is just a bad. We should just stop the podcast because he's literally going to just die. I mean, every time. I just want to learn more about it. I just want. Is this not enough? Are the things we talk about not enough for you? For your curiosity?
Why do you think I had to like learn all about sleep so that I actually would stop learning for a few? Like this has been a problem. I have a hard time stopping reading like books and articles, watching videos, like learning things to go to sleep.
That is so easy for me to just not read. Yet I do it so much better than you.
It's true. I'm better at reading in my head. I can't read out loud.
We don't know that for sure. But
It's true. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's not that I'm just trying to learn all this extra stuff. It's just that it takes me so long to learn one thing because I read so slow.
it's like yeah, that's a hard one.
I used that exact thing yesterday with my wife and her sister. I was like, I'm a slow reader. I don't know how you guys read so fast. I'm just like, teh, teh. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh, the.
Anyway, great. Was that the last one,
Yeah.
or did you? Okay. Well, let's move on to this game that I have prepared for everyone. What's that sound? Nintendo edition. All right. Yeah. So today's game, and this is actually something that I'm kind of hoping that we can, that I'll be able to continue for different topics. Today's
Hence, this
edition,
is
the Nintendo edition.
It's Nintendo.
Nintendo. But I don't know where I'm going to go from here. I mean, I actually, when I was putting this together, realized how difficult this was. And I am sorry because I thought it would be a little bit easier. And maybe it is. Maybe I am just totally underestimating you guys.
So, like, difficult meaning difficult for you to put together, or difficult meaning like these,
question.
like to actually find Nintendo sounds.
So no,
You had to
okay.
get to super
So,
obscure sounds.
let me tell you the game. So it's kind of like Jeopardy. We have three levels of I guess sounds. You have, just like in a Nintendo game, you have a difficulty of easy, intermediate, and hard. And there's 5 in each, and each one, it has 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, And so we're going to score you guys that way. If you do choose something from the hard category, it is pretty much double, because I don't think you will get any of them.
Okay.
Honestly, and what I said, why I said it was difficult is because as I was going through it, there are definitely sounds that I was like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that is. But as I was trying to put together 15 sounds of ones that I could recognize, it became very difficult because, I mean, there's games that I know, but I don't think I really played them. And so I don't necessarily recognize the theme music or any of the level music. So
Are they music or are they sounds? like sound effects, meaning.
It was like music and sound seems to be the same thing. But
Well, like I would consider like the ding 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 from the Mario game is like a sound effect.
okay, no, then it's music. It's
Okay.
like theme songs. So we'll get to that. But we're going to flip a coin here, and just to see who is picking first.
One more question: is there a daily double?
Well, that's why I just did everything in the hard category is double.
So there's an
So-
easy that's 100 points, a medium that's a 200 point, and a hard that's a 300 point, right?
Yeah, this really would have been better if we had a board to do this from. So just know that in each category,
Okay.
there are 5 songs.
Okay.
Easy, 5 songs. Intermediate, 5 songs. Hard, 5 songs.
Okay. But no daily double.
Damn it, Danny.
What the hell are you obsessed
Why
with
are you
double?
worried about the daily double? I said everything, all the 5 songs in the hard category is worth double.
No, but this
It doesn't have the word daily in it.
if there is an actual daily double, that completely changes the strategy that I would
No,
use
there is no strategy.
to attack this game.
Danny, you will just have to guess the sound.
Okay,
Try and get the most points.
Yes,
Why is this
that's
so hard?
all. That comes down to game theory.
Okay,
There is
Danny. The strategy is
Get
if
the
you
most
are
points.
super behind, then maybe try for some hard ones because they're worth double.
Okay.
I
Maybe-
didn't say this is Jeopardy.
Maybe I'll do an episode where I explain game theory behind Jeopardy.
Okay, so hold on. Okay,
I thought you were docking me points.
no, I should dock you points. I just need a way to keep track of what's been picked.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna flip a coin. Who's calling it?
You want to call it out?
Heads.
Tis heads.
Oh, dang it.
So you can either choose to go first or defer.
I had a 50% chance to win there.
Defer.
Okay, so Danny's going to select first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 levels of that. So do you want to choose from easy, intermediate, or hard?
So if I get it wrong, does he get a chance to answer it?
Yes.
Okay. Deferring, by the way, was bad strategy.
I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Don't care.
Because there is no actual daily double. Let's take an easy.
All right. Do you want 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5?
5.
Okay. And here we go. What is that game?
Space Invaders.
No. Alan.
Duck Hunt.
Wait, I know this game.
Do you need it one more time?
Yeah.
Everybody listening to this is just like, are you kidding me?
Pac-Man.
Yes, but I mean, you don't get the points because you guys. So yes, it is Pac-Man.
I didn't know Pac-Man was on Nintendo. I thought Pac-Man was like before Nintendo.
No, it's on Nintendo. I mean, it's an arcade game, but it was also on Nintendo. So
Let's just say I'm probably going to lose this game because I'm younger, and so you guys had more time with the Nintendos.
Nintendo.
maybe yeah, I don't know, but we'll see.
Does it?
A lot of these
I
songs seem to be-
I guess Space
I was-
Invaders, which actually is an Atari game.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're at that big of a disadvantage.
Well, that's even okay.
All right, Alan.
Because I was more like PlayStation
Well,
era.
we'll see. Maybe eventually I'll get to What's That Sound PlayStation Edition.
and then you'll have an advantage.
So, all right. You pick. You want easy, intermediate, or hard?
Hard.
Okay. 1 through 5.
Gonna mess with Dan's strategy here. 1.
1. Okay. Some of these are like 25 seconds.
It's okay. It helps give us more time.
Zelda.
No.
I was gonna guess that. So yes, you screwed up first. These are all popular games.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Paperboy.
Incorrect.
Paperboy.
The answer is DuckTales, but it is
DuckTales?
Yep, but it is a specific level in DuckTales, which is the moon level, which is actually a very famous level for the DuckTales game, and that is actually in the list of like most popular Nintendo Entertainment System like songs. That's like in the top 10. So
What?
yeah, but I just knew because
don't
it was
think-
a specific level that's why I put it in the hard.
I don't think I ever played DuckTales on Nintendo, but
I didn't even know there was a DuckTales
amazing.
game.
It's one of the greatest games.
Really?
Yeah. All right. So far we are at 0-0. Okay, Daniel.
first one to score, boy. Easy for 1.
Okay.
If I guess before the music ends, do I? Oh,
No.
dang it.
No.
I'm gonna go with Super Mario Brothers,
Which one?
number 1.
Okay. You get 100 points.
That may prove to be insurmountable.
Yay, you got one. All right, Alan. Go for it. Easy, intermediate, or
Easy.
hard. So you got 2, 3, or 4.
3.
Okay.
Crap.
I'll give you a hint in the sense this is not necessarily just strictly a Nintendo game, but it was obviously made popular by Nintendo because
I have no idea.
Okay.
Donkey Kong?
Nope. Do you have
Zelda.
it? Nope. Come on, guys. Tetris.
The crazy thing is, like, these actually are familiar sounding. But
I know, that's
can't
what I'm saying.
Place them.
Like if I was in your seat, I mean, I'm pretty certain I could get all of the
Easies.
and half of the intermediates, but some of the other ones, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I would recognize them, but there's no way I could place them.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I'm sorry. I don't know what your level of expertise are on this.
I mean, I probably would have been better at this when I was 10.
Yeah, but I will say, like, one of the reasons why I just love the sound of the 8-bit music.
Yeah.
It's
It
I
is
don't know, it's
catchy.
very aesthetic to the ear. So, all right,
Easy
So,
for 2.
yep, easy 2. Oh, this is actually the one that started the whole idea. So here we go.
I'm going to go with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, boy, that is correct.
Bing, 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 bing. Dang it.
So you get another 200.
Like, I get another 100. I'm at 200 total, right?
No, that was worth 200. They're not
Oh.
each worth 100.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, I said that.
I thought the intermediates were worth 200.
No. Danny, you did not listen to a single thing I said at the beginning. Okay, each level I said 100, 200, 300, 400, 500.
Oh.
And that's the same with easy and intermediate, but then they're doubled. So instead of 100, it's 200, 400, 600, 800, and 1,000.
This completely changes my strategy.
I tried to tell you.
Okay.
Okay, so Alan, easy, intermediate, or hard?
Hard.
Okay, hard. You got 2 through 5.
5.
Oh, man.
Going for it. All the marbles.
All right.
here.
I will tell you that this is also one of the more difficult games, but I played it so much. Not that you would know from that. It's not a clue. I'm just pointing that out. I never played it myself because I never had the game. But my neighbor did, and so I was always over there playing this.
I feel like you're giving away too much.
How? Does he know my neighbor from West Jordan? Do you know the Mortensons?
Yes.
Do you know Chris and Jason?
No, I know John and Deborah. Zelda.
Sooner or later, we're going to get it right.
Nope.
Right? All right, should we just end the game now?
No.
Because it's going to be insurmountable
Do you have...
after I talk.
Yeah, really? Do you know what this one is?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a little game I like to call Marble Madness.
No.
Whatever, that is Marble Madness.
It is not Marble Madness. Trust me, it's not Marble Madness.
Guys, I literally don't know any
It's
of these
okay.
games.
It's okay. It's still fun. Listening to it is fun. Okay. It's world-class track meet. So it's the game that you had the pad.
Yeah, and you ran.
And you
on
ran against the turtle, and then it just got like the last one was the guy, and he was the cheetah. And you had to just like I don't think that physically the human body could stamp
fast
on a
enough.
pad as fast as you needed to run faster than the cheetah. But what you had to do, just because of, I imagine, picking your feet up and putting them down it was just, you couldn't do it fast enough. So we had to hold on to a table and just like push ourselves down so that like we would not like kind of bump up. So like your just feet are just literally going off the pad like just a millimeter so that you could just go. And
What if you just used your hands?
no, I don't think even that's so hard. I mean, I don't know, but it was just, yeah, it was really difficult, but super fun. So that's what that one was. Sorry. Daniel.
I was so confident that was Marble Madness.
I know. It's going to be insurmountable. Okay. Easy, intermediate, or hard?
easy 3.
You already did 3, so
Oh,
you got
easy
2 or
4.
4. Okay.
Wait, I already did easy 2.
No, you didn't. You did intermediate 2.
Oh,
That's what I said. It's easier if we had the board, but just trust me.
okay.
You have easy
Easy
2 or
2.
4. Okay. Easy 2. Should have just gone for the...
DuckTales.
There we go.
Same game?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just that's the main theme. It's just the other one was
So how much was that worth? 200?
200.
Are there more from the same games? Like duplicate games?
I think that's the only one.
What?
I get you. Poor Alan, like everything is like, okay, well, if there's another duplicate, then at least I have like a few that I can pick from. But then tries, no, I think that's it. It's like, damn it. Well, now it's just the whole world that I don't know.
All right, I'll go ahead and pick
Hard.
hard. Okay. You got 2, 3, or 4.
2.
Okay. Where is it? Oh.
Some type of an adventure game? Zelda.
Yes. Good job.
Yeah! Damn it! Damn it!
Yes.
I'm back, baby! How's your strategy looking now? Wait, how much was that worth?
400.
What are you at?
500.
Damn it.
Way to go. That was, technically it's Legend of Zelda, but I'll let the Legend of.
I was going to go with Legend of Zelda.
Yep.
So, easy for 4. Is that the only easy left?
Yep.
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay.
Here we go.
Why does he get this one?
I never get
Could
a
have
talk.
picked 5 easies.
I told you there's game theory behind all this.
Oh.
I'm going to go with Duck Hunt.
Here you go.
I wanted to answer like 4 times, but it just kept going.
That's literally the only sound that I could find from it. So, okay, we are done with the easies. So we have from intermediate, we have 1, 3, 4, and 5, and then hard, we just have 3 and 4. So, Alan.
Hard 3. No, hard 4. It's like rolling 2 2s on dice.
All right.
That is correct.
I'm going to throw it because I know you have no clue what this is, because you can use this as well as soon as he gets it wrong. The title of the game, the initials, like it's 2 words, and both words start with the same letter. I'll just throw that out there.
Supersonic.
No.
Wrong PlayStation. Wrong console.
Wrong PlayStation. Okay. Daniel.
Double Dragon.
No.
Crap,
It
it's
is
Double Dragon.
Double Dragon is
Yeah.
But it's not it. It's Bubble Bobble.
That was my second guess.
Was it really?
No.
Do you even remember Bubble Bobble?
No.
I remember playing that game.
What was that one about?
I honestly don't remember. You're like these 2 lizard dragon guys.
For real?
I just remember the sound. Like, and when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember Bubble Bobble, but sort of. I don't really remember playing it.
Wait, what was
Just
the
I need
dragon
to
one?
brush up on my Nintendo.
Nintendo?
What was the dragon one?
Double Dragon?
Yeah, it's it's like a
It was like, yeah,
like a martial arts fighting, but not like a Mortal Kombat.
Oh.
it was like you go through levels.
Yeah. All right, Alan, intermediate or hard?
Wait, he just took
Oh,
this.
Danny. Sorry.
Intermediate 1.
Okie dokes. Here we go. Your face. Just because I think he knows what it is.
I have no idea.
Do you
I'm
really?
just gonna throw something out there. Like, sounds familiar. I'm just gonna go with Super Mario Brothers 2.
He's so dumb.
He can never just answer a question. Huh.
That's what
He always
wife
has
always
to
says.
prolong a freaking answer.
Why?
I don't know. You tell me. See how quick that answer was?
All right, Alan. Go for it.
Hard.
You got 3 left.
3.
Okay. If this is what you want.
Double Dragon.
No.
Damn it.
Punch Out.
No.
Is it some racing game?
No.
Is it football?
It's more similar to Double Dragon.
Mortal Kombat.
No, that wasn't introduced till later. Starts with a C. It's only 1 word.
Cult.
Castle.
It's Contra.
Contra.
Yeah. It's just these 2 dudes with guns just running around shooting people.
Did you hear about that game though? Like after it came out, it was banned.
Controversy.
Contra?
Yeah, it was banned.
Because there's a controversy.
It was contraband.
All right. Okay, we just have intermediates left. So we got 3,
intermediate.
4, and 5.
I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna go intermediate 5.
Okay. I will say that you have to be specific on this one.
Okay. So it's when Mario's fighting Bowser. But do I have to tell you like which?
Well, what's the
of
game?
three
Just tell me the
games?
game first. Okay, because
Super
let's
Mario
point it out.
Brothers 3.
Okay, and it is a level.
The one where he can fly, and it's got like it's a castle, and it's got the lava.
No lava.
I'll give you half points because it is Super Mario 3, but it is the airship.
Oh, that's
It
right.
is on the airship.
The
So
flying airship.
so I will give you 250. You're gonna win anyway.
I didn't remember half points being part of the rules.
I make rules up as I go.
That would have totally changed my.
You're winning. Why are you complaining? Would have totally changed my strategy if I knew there was half points. Okay. Alan, 3 or 4?
4.
All right. I will give you a hint. Couple hints. Somebody has actually already said it, and it is a sports game.
Football? Sports?
I just said sports. You can't specify. Football sports?
Madden.
No.
Is it a racing game?
No.
We actually said the name of the game. Punch Out.
Yeah, there you go. Punch Out.
Punch
It's
Out.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh.
Seriously, one of the most difficult games ever.
Because you have to fight Mike Tyson at the
Yeah.
end, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't. It's basically the world class track meet because you're just this little tiny dude, and you're fighting like you first kind of fight some little small guys, and they just get
gets
bigger
harder
and
and
bigger
harder,
and
yeah.
bigger as they go along until you're fighting Mike Tyson, and you can't
Bites your ear off.
you can't you can't fight Mike Tyson. With that.
Wasn't that literally a thing though? It's like you couldn't beat Mike Tyson in Mike Tyson Punch Out.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, here's the last one, Daniel.
Wait, I didn't get my points.
Yes. Oh, sorry. What? Does it matter at this point?
No pun intended.
We'll do another one of these where it's more even ground,
Okay.
even playing field. But all right, here we go.
Whatever the last one is, that's what I take. Intermediate 3. I feel like I know this one, but I'm just gonna default to Double Dragon.
Nope. Alan?
Donkey Kong.
Nope. It is a huge movie franchise.
Fast and the Furious.
Had Jack Nicholson.
Batman.
There you go.
I don't remember if I played that game though.
It's amazing.
But the music does sound familiar, so maybe I watched somebody play the game.
Shouldn't it be dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, or what's the Batman song? Batman. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Danny won with a total of 1,550 points to Alan's 400.
Yeah.
So
But it was a hard.
it was this. That's what I was saying. As I was,
I mean,
it was a hard one that you.
I know what Trav's gonna say. Semantics, Danny, semantics. But I actually got 1,650 points.
Okay, did I count wrong?
But you can just say semantics, Danny.
Is it because of
semantics.
this? You didn't get this last one.
I don't know. 5, 1,000, 1,250, 1,650.
Yeah, whatever.
Super interesting podcast.
Yeah, semantics.
Adding numbers.
It was. Well, you know, Danny and his numbers. He should have just been like, oh, just 400, 250, and carry the 1,650. So, anyway, there you have it. hopefully that was enjoyable. Like I said, as I was putting that together, I was realizing kind of how difficult it was. But it's kind of set the foundation now so that we can go forward, and maybe I'll try a few of these. Like we could do other game consoles or generations, or I could do TV shows, movies, just like maybe just quotes from different movies and things like that. Although I feel like you guys would be, I don't know. I feel like I'd
be good at movie quotes.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll try that.
Yeah, you should do like Dumb and Dumber quotes.
Just Dumb and Dumber quotes.
I could be like Dumb and Dumber.
Okay. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for listening this week. Make sure to tune in we release these episodes every Friday, and then of course we have our Dream-isodes that come out every Monday. So catch us anywhere you listen to podcasts, which are Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. I always think that that's telling us to tune in. Like I need to tell people to tune in.
Tune in.
And then
same bat channel, same bat time.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And, of course, we have a website that you can go to and interact with us at qcodepodcast.com, as well as our social media pages for Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, QCode Podcast. So, and then, of course, we like to see those stars as much as Alan likes to see those stars.
You just need one more person to get to double digits in ratings.
So close. So thanks again, guys, for listening, and we will see you next time.